Hi, today I would like to tell you about how online presentations will be different from offline presentations and what's the best way to prepare and to deliver them. First thing that you should remember about online presentations is that the attention of people is usually lower in comparison with offline presentations. Research has shown that more than half of employees will be doing something different during your presentation or teleconference call, which means that you need to keep all information really clear, simple, and short. And I'm going to repeat it again and again today because it's something that makes online presentations really effective and brings great results. So we are going to look today into four main aspects: preparation points, content, delivery, and the way to interact with audience. Let's start from preparation. There are some technical points which you should remember about when you are preparing online presentations. First of all, is to check your equipment. Of course, obviously, you remember about camera and microphone and the importance of it. Also, keep in mind the lighting and your background. If half of your face is not visible because of the window light, or if there is something on your background that is really distracting, this will influence the way people perceive information. Record yourself to test the voice. You should know that during online presentations, voice is your main weapon. So there is nothing else you can use really. There is no non-verbal communication. There is no other things which you use in offline presentations to build connection with your audience. That's why it's extremely important that your sound is really good and clear. Don't ignore it. Check it in advance. The same applies to files that you are going to share. I think everyone has been in a situation when presentation has started, you're trying to share something, it doesn't work, obviously, so it's really good idea to send it in advance. One more point how you can approach it is to have someone to back you up. So you can ask a colleague to support you during your presentation. Yeah, for example, you can send a copy of your file to this colleague in. So if you have some issues on your side, this person can help share a document. Also, this person can write a private message to you in case you have some trouble with image or with voice to help you out. It's really good if you can have access to the second screen, as on the one screen you can show presentation, on the other screen you can have your notes. In case you don't have access to the second screen, at least have your slides on your phone, because it makes it so much easier if you know what's next. Because if you have only one screen and you're showing and you don't know what to expect really, so it can be a bit confusing, like it's happening to me now. I don't have the second screen, and I might get a bit lost about what's next. The last point here is to here you see it's not the last point, but three last points. Prepare jokes in advance about technical issues. Because usually you want something to load quickly, but it doesn't. There is like this really uncomfortable pause. So my favorite joke so far is that it's a great opportunity when something is loading too fast. It's a great opportunity to breathe in, breathe out, and relax. And the last point here, it's about remember about screen formats. So people might have access to your online presentation from different devices. Not all of them are joining you from laptop or desktop. That's why make sure that your slides will also be visual on mobile phones. If you put too much text or like a small font, it would be hard to read from small screen devices. My slide here is not the best example ever. I just wanted to put like lots of useful tips in one place. That's it about preparation. Now let's look into content part. There are four main questions that you should ask yourself while you're preparing the content for your presentation. The first one is, why do I need to present? This is really important question because in many cases you really don't need to present. You can just share a file and people will read it, and that's pretty much it. So if you can replace your presentation with any type of reading or informing people in any other way, you can go for it and save everyone else time. The same comes to, can people get this information from other sources? It's quite possible that people can actually do the reading on their own. They don't need to listen to your long presentation. Concentrate on the points which you really need to deliver, which people can't go through on their own, and this will save everyone's time. The next question is, are people already familiar with this information? Sometimes it works that, for example, you want to discuss one more time with your team some processes that everyone is familiar with, but they don't follow them accurately. So the good idea can be not to repeat all information again, but do it more in the form of question answer session, where you try to find out the reason why people, for example, not following the process, or where you help, and by asking questions you try to understand where are people with the knowledge of this process, instead of just repeating what you have already told them before. And the main point here is also to ask a question: what do I want people to be able to do by the end of my presentation? uh, so, for example, you want people to get familiar with information, or you want them to be able to manage some application on their own, or you would like to be everyone on to report about the results. Keeping this question in mind helps you to concentrate on the main stuff during your presentation and not overload it with unnecessary information. Tell the audience what you're going to say it, then tell them what you've said. This is the classic example of American presentation. Sometimes in offline presentations, it can be a little bit, it can be unnecessary. You might feel that repeating too much can look a little bit like stupid or strange, especially in our mentality. But for online presentations, it's extremely important and it's crucial, and it's like everyone will get it and will be grateful to you, because again, people get distracted, they might do something else. If you constantly repeat the same message, the chances that it will finally get there are much higher. Some more extra bits to remember about while you're preparing your content. One thing is, think of a soft and hard opening. During online presentations, people can be late. They may join later, like 5 minutes, for example, and you don't want them to miss your beginning. That's why you can have a soft and hard opening. Soft opening would be some kind of poll or question or something to interact with people while you're waiting for others. Hard opening would be actual opening, where you start from your first slide and explain the purpose of your presentation, structure, and so on and so forth. Clear structure is essential in offline presentations. It always helps to deliver a message better, but in online presentations, it's like a must. People really want to know where you are. If your presentation turns into the chain of endless slides, people just give up. They already checking their email, they are reading some book, and they are just like waiting for you to finish. So you really don't have their attention. Summary is something you might skip in offline presentation, but in online presentation, it will give you extra benefits, as for those people who got away at some point of your presentation, this will be a great opportunity to catch up and actually get something out of it. When you're explaining something in online presentation, try to use also some points for imagination, like imagine you are sitting in a room with, or like using this app feels like. Give people some experience by processing information through some imagining things, and having this kind of experience helps people to turn on it and to feel it better and to understand it better. I'm keeping it simple and practical. It's kind of mantra I'm going to repeat again and again during this presentation, because it's for online presentation. This is a key point. It's not the right moment to show your brilliant knowledge of English, or to show how you can build together complex grammar. Concentrate on delivering the message in the easiest and the clearest way you can. If you think the topic is too complicated and you need to go deep dive into the details and people need a bit more information, please provide them with this information in forms of listening or reading after the presentation. But during the presentation, try to keep it like the general points. and avoid unnecessary details because, again, if it takes too long, people won't get them anyway. So that's it with the preparation and the content. So what do we expect in delivery part in comparison with offline presentation? First thing is to be a bit too much, be a bit louder, be a bit like more emotional than you usually are. And what seems to be too much to you or on this side of a screen will be just fine for your audience. Pay attention to pauses and intonation. I mean, it's always more interesting to people, listen to people who are kind of changing their tone. They are getting all quiet, they are getting too loud, or something like that. It's always waking up. But also, don't underestimate the role of pauses in online presentations because at some point your presentation will sound to people like humming, like I'm talking and talking and talking and talking, and they're kind of doing their own business with your talking. But then at some point you get quiet and people have some confusion because you've been talking and talking and they've been fine with it and then pause. So it makes them wake up and find out what happened, and this way you can catch their attention. There is a need to change a theme every 10 minutes. You should, I mean, it can be anything. You can show a quote, ask a question, interact, give some task, whatever, but keep it in mind, especially if your presentation is quite long, more than half an hour, doing something every 10 minutes so that you don't lose your audience at all is can be really helpful. If in offline presentations you are really emotional and you love active gestures, it's time to give them up. Because if you have any slowdown with your internet connection, it will look really funny because you will get frozen and it will be like a slow motion movie. So watch your body language at this point. Of course, you're always expected to stay on track in your offline and online presentations, but in online presentations it's really easier to sleep off and to lose concentration and just continue talking and talking. Stay on track, prepare a timeline in advance, and keep it. And the most valuable part in online presentations is usually question answer session because it's not so much about the information you deliver, but like people want to ask and discuss it with you. That's why don't ignore this part and leave proper time for people to ask questions and to have a proper discussion. Yoo-hoo! You have survived 3 parts so far. The last one left, interaction. Let's go through it. I would like to tell you 10 ways you can interact with audience in online presentations. The first one is to create a poll. Of like people can vote for something and then they can compare the results. It usually provokes a lot of interest. You can give people some task to solve, to think about, to decide on. This all helps to get them focused. Ask a question, ask people to explain. If you think that people are familiar with the concept, don't explain it yourself. Ask someone to explain it. This, first of all, helps people to wake up a little bit. Secondly, you can evaluate how deeply do you need to go into the topic, or people are already fine with it. Let people guess something instead of just providing them facts. Show a picture first, ask them what is it. Like this way, people will get involved. Short story would be great if you keep it short. Again, if it takes too long to tell something, that's it. No one will survive till the end. Please keep it short. 1 minute break can be a nice, unusual but nice idea. Especially if your presentation is quite long, why not somewhere in the middle give people 1 minute break to look outside the window or just have a walk around the room or check their messengers. This way they can have a bit of rest and then get back to you refreshed and happy. Animation is something which you can play around in your presentations. Make a joke. Again, remember it should be appropriate to your audience, and short. Short quiz can help to check at the end of your presentations how attentive people were. And the good point about creating a quiz, especially if you are giving your presentation to your subordinates, for example, is that people know that at the end you will ask and they will listen more attentively. So, I would like to finish today with 3 questions for you to think about. The first one, which of the tips can I use in my next online presentations? if you liked anything from my list, pick what is it and how can you apply it in your presentation. The second point, can I add to this list of ideas anything based on my experience? Write in comments what else are you using. I would like to know about it, and I can add it to my list and share with other my clients. And the last point here, what are my areas for improvement in delivering online presentations? Again, put them into comments. I would love to. I would like to comment on them, and I will try to help you with any tips or tricks how to deal with things you are struggling with, and maybe I can record other videos to help you deal with these issues. Thank you very much for your attention. Good luck and the best online presentations ever.